So we're back. We started this whole program, this whole series of women in words, and so we are moving forward. And it was Women's History Month that we started that whole book series, and now we're calling it Turning the Page with local authors. And our first local author that we have joining us is Miss Lorna Owens. Hey, Lorna.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have the pleasure of talking with you at least once a week with our member meetup at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays and Fridays, and we talk about books, and we learn that you are an author, uh, and multiple times over, and so obviously we've been in the middle of and I keep saying the middle of coronavirus, COVID-19, and even though we're moving, as some people would think, towards the end, I think we're still in the middle of it because we still have to protect ourselves. And one thing that you got out of this is cooking.
Yes, yes, yes. As a matter of fact, here's my tea. I'm drinking some hibiscus called Dream Chaser. But interesting enough, thanks for having me. If folks have not been coming on Tuesdays and Fridays to the meetups, you're missing a lot. What I got out of being locked up is I had to cook, Eric, and then I started posting it on Facebook. And people said, you should do a book. And you should not tell me you should do a book because guess what? I did a book. It's called My Journey with Food During the Time of Coronavirus. And what I learned is that we could be locked away and eat very badly. And I started
Right.
doing that at the beginning. Or we could get into a routine of eating healthy, and that's how I ended up. And so this is how this book came together, with amazing healthy recipes. No meat, because I am primarily pescatarian. Lots of vegetables, smoothies, teas, fabulous recipes, simple recipes.
Oh, that is amazing. As you said, during pandemic, in the beginning, we probably all, the grocery stores were saying you had to, they were running out of this, they were running out of that, and people were probably grabbing the first thing that they could grab. And a lot of those things probably most likely were unhealthy. So, so people started, you were cooking, and people were like, well, you need to like share some of that great stuff. tell us
Yeah,
some
and they're
tell us
like,
some about t- tell us some of those things that you're doing.
oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I did a big salad, and it was simple. We eat with our eyes as well. So I say to you, whatever you cook, make it pretty. Okay. So I would arrange my stuff on my fine china. After all, it's about me. So we do a big salad with romaine, grapes, pineapple. We'll do it with strawberries, a little bit of crunch, and a little bit of garlic and olive oil, all blended together, and it just made this beautiful, crunchy, delicious salad. And it, you could have it alone, or you could just grill some salmon and just put it on top of it. It's beautiful, it's delicious, it's healthy, and that's dinner.
You're making me hungry. One of the things that I did um, during the beginning of COVID-19, and us being shut down, I started a vegetable garden. You want to
Yes.
talk about that? And I know you're all about that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh my goodness. You know, we want to eat what we call live food. And I have started doing something called micro gardening, and I am also doing a vegetable garden, but not on your scale at all, not on your scale, because I will kill everything. So micro gardening became good for me, and basically it's just putting some seeds in a little bit of dirt, cover it over, sit it on your windowsill or whatever. It comes up in about 7 to 10 days. You water it every day, but not drown it in water. Just use a spritzer on it. And those microgreens have 4 times the amount of nutrients that the parent plant has. So you could have broccoli microgreens. It has 4 times the amount of nutrients that broccoli has. Lettuce microgreen, any seed microgreen, sunflower microgreen. And it is also good for people who can't grow one single thing, because you could grow it on paper towel. So that's certainly one way we can actually do greens. Another thing, always incorporate veggies in your daily diet. And the best way to do that and make it nice is spice. Don't ignore spices at all. Just don't use seasoning salts, because we're staying away from the sodium. But I know, Simple Mrs. Dash has a lot. I don't know who Mrs. Dash is, or Dash or whatever, but they have a lot of salt-free seasoning. So when I'm roasting my vegetables, for example, I put I put turmeric and cumin and black pepper and just everything, and just roast it, and it's delicious. So seasoning can take your cooking to the next level. If you're doing soup, my big thing is an Instapot. So now I have some monk green in my Instapot. But the thing about it is just put all your beans in, throwing all your vegetables, anything, carrots, squash, everything that you think that's going to go bad, spinach or whatever. And obviously, you want to put your seasoning like garlic and onions and scallions, a little bit of pepper, and you cook it down. But the big thing about cooking really is layering your flavors. So you tend to cook and you put all the garlic and the onion in at once. You get a better result if you're cooking your soup. You saute your seasoning to wake them up a bit, to release some of those nice flavors and sweetness, and then you put in your beans and you let it simmer. Just before it's cooked, you can add some more seasoning. And that layer of seasoning makes a big difference, Eric. Also, a lot of us don't realize, if you put a tinge of nutmeg in your soup and squeeze a little bit of lime or lemon. We know that because if you live in South Florida, you'll see when you buy soup at a Cuban restaurant, they always put a slice of lime or lemon.
Right, right, right,
Add
right.
add a little of that to it, and a little nutmeg. That's a different soup. So
Wow.
play with your food, not in terms of eating, but in terms of flavor. And if you get those flavors out of your stuff, you're not going to eat badly at all.
That's amazing. Now, the other thing that you and I have talked about is the dirty dozen.
Yes.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
We love strawberries, things like strawberries and lettuce and all like that. And when we do dirty dozen, what we mean is that not they're inherently dirty, but because they are grown with pesticides and they absorb it and you can't get rid of it. So do the best you can. First of all, grow your own food. That's what we say, grow your own food. Everybody has the ability to do that, whether you're in New York, I was sort of Florida with backyards, can do it in pots. I grow in pots. I have some um, wine barrels that I bought at the store, and one has only herbs, and then one just has my vegetables. But if not, go organic. It's worth it. It's worth it. Or the best you can do, if you can peel it, you peel it. But even when you peel them, the pesticide, and Lord, we do, pesticides are killing us. We have all these strange diseases, or these autoimmune diseases is coming from the pesticides. So if you can grow it, grow as much as you can. Every little bit help. If not, do organic. For me, I have the distinct pleasure of shopping, going to the local farms here in Central Florida, because I'm up in DeLand and it's the bread basket. So I can go to a place called Common Ground and get everything, including the wheat that I use for my bread. I would go there and they would grind fresh wheat. I'll come home and I'll make it. Food is medicine, and it's not negotiable. We absolutely have to change the way we eat. And the way to help us, because culturally we want to fry and dye and stuff like that, is to add flavor. And salt is a seasoning, but it's not the flavor you want to rely on. You don't want to lean on that. Just put all your flavors in and experiment. You guys have Ethiopian restaurants down there. Get some Ethiopian spices, add it to your fish, and it's a whole different conversation.
Absolutely. So the other thing that you are adamant about is tea. Let's
Yes.
talk about that a little bit in the healthy aspects of tea.
Right. There's nothing better that we can have from a health perspective than tea. And what I mean, green tea, black tea, oolong tea. I mean, those are teas. And then we have herbals. What they tea supports heart health. Tea supports a healthy blood pressure. Tea supports good digestion. So, for example, if you have type 2 diabetes, you must drink tea. And you're like, I hate tea. No, you don't hate tea. You've not had good tea and you've not tasted the whole variety of teas. Okay. Because oftentimes we have tea bags. I encourage you not to do tea bags because the chemicals that's in the making of the tea bag. Loose tea. If you start having loose single estate tea, you will love tea. I have an amazing set of teas from Africa, from the foothill of the Kilimanjaro mountain, done by some of the women tea makers there. And it is beyond spectacular. It's an oolong tea. They roast it, Eric, in this beautiful African ware, and I get it within a week. That's fresh tea. You have to have tea to help your blood pressure. If you have high cholesterol, there is a tea called pu'er tea, which is an ancient tea. I have a 5-year-old tea, and in the processing of it, it creates natural statins. So that would be, if you call me and say I'm working on my cholesterol, pu'er is what I would recommend. You say, I want to lose weight, Lorna, oolong. I would rely a lot on oolong, all teas, but first I would put up oolong. We have two. One is called Connoisseur Delight, and the other one is called African Goddess. Now, your herbals. You want to get your anti-inflammatories in every day. So we have turmeric and ginger and turmeric with cinnamon. And so let me just pause a little bit. If you're going to have turmeric or turmeric, if you decide to grate it and get your hands all yellow, good for you, but we have it. But the point I'm making is that you have to combine it with peppercorn, because there's an enzyme in peppercorn and there's an enzyme in turmeric that needs to come together for you to get the full benefit of peppercorn. So we certainly have that. We have a tea called with ashwagandha, which is great for the endocrine system. I'm not a doctor. Don't play one on TV. I'm not saying don't see your doctor, but if you're having endocrine issues, then you certainly want to get something that has ashwagandha in it. Having problems sleeping, don't use pills. Let's use chamomile, valerian. We have something called sleep matters. You want energy, don't be boosting up with caffeine. We have an energy thing that will help you get energized, but in a very natural way. So you want to look to I'm going to call everything teas. We want to go back to ancient remedies. When you grew up and our moms would go in the yard, and I come from Jamaica, do some bush tea, and it helps your tummy. We all know if you have indigestion or you want to settle your stomach, peppermint. We know that. So let's get back to that and having it as a everyday part of our diet. Those of us who are menopausal or for your menarche, We have a woman's blend, Shatavia. It's perfect, rooibos from South Africa, great for your whole system. And don't forget, hibiscus will help with high blood pressure. I'm not saying that it's going to cure it because I don't know what else you're eating. But if you want to get a good start, then our blend Dream Chaser, which has rooibos and hibiscus, is spectacular for you.
Wow. And we could go on all day. I love listening to you because you have such a passion for the teas and for cooking. We may have to come back and do a 1 hour segment on.
We will break down the one thing I want to tell folks is that a lot of people cook with garlic, and you should. The way to preserve the anisin, which is a good active compound in garlic that's healthy for you. You know, garlic is a antimicrobial, but also garlic helps with blood pressure, and the science is there. Is cut your garlic and let it be for about 10 minutes before you add it to foods, and it will preserve that enzyme in it that you want to help with health. So just little things like that, little changes. You're using garlic anyway. When you do your food prep, just do the garlic first. Just cut it, set it aside first, And don't forget spiritual. I have another book called Everyday Grace, Everyday Miracle, Living the Life You're Born to Live. It has amazing stories of men and women from around the world. And it tells us that no matter where we are in our lives, we're always covered by God's grace and God's mercy. And essentially, it can work for you. I want to read a little bit about at one time I lost 1.5 million, and it said the telephone company owed me some money. But when I called, I found that I was not going to get the check for a month. I was due in Atlanta in a few days, and essentially I had no money. All day the Holy Spirit kept telling me to check my mailbox. When I finally did, there was a check for $200 inside for $2,000 inside my mailbox. So I was able to go to Atlanta because essentially I got $2,000 when I was looking under my bed for a quarter. This book was born from my travels around the world, meeting exciting and wonderful persons. It was born out of the sisterhood I felt in a meeting in Singapore when women asked that I be given more speaking times. When women reached out to me from New Zealand and Jamaica. I spoke in Oxford. I spoke in Cape Cod. I stayed at the house of total strangers who outfitted me with an outfit. In this book, I have left a blank page, and it's for you to tell your story. I say this book is not complete without your story. It's called Everyday Grace, Everyday Miracle, and 20 women from amazing. These are miracles. Like people talk about miracles. It was
Right.
amazing. These like angel appearing and stuff like that. So I would encourage people. It really sustained me. The reason why I bring it up, these are good times to be reminded that we're connected to source. So your spiritual self is in these times is just as important as exercise and what we eat. My book is available at desert-sage.co. That's where we have all our teas. Folks can call me. I'll walk you through the wellness process, what teas you should be having, what foods you should be having, just amazing recipes here. I try to make them maybe 6 or 7, ingredients so it's easy. Your smoothies, you can blend melon with lemon juice. That's all. Tastes great. Lemon, just add some lemon juice to fresh melon juice.
Right.
Whole different conversation.
Right, right, right. Well, this has been great, and I definitely got to bring you back. This has been Turn the Page with local
Yeah,
authors, and we were kicking off with Lorna Owens. How can someone get in touch with you and know more about your books?
absolutely. You can go to desert-sage.co, or you can call me 305-505-5493. My book Journey with Food during the time of coronavirus. You can get it on Amazon as well, hardcover and ebook. So if you just, ebook is great. You have it all the time. You can just pull up the recipe while you're cooking. But let's get cooking. Let's get healthy, Eric. And thank you for this opportunity because I think it's so needed for us to pause and remember that we got this.
Oh, absolutely. This has been Turn the Page with the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. If you want to know more about the chamber, you can go to www.m-dcc or call the chamber at 305-751-8648. Lorna, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you on the next Turn the Page as we'll talk about that other book you got.
Okay, quickly. The chamber, y'all have a wellness council. We're
Yes.
doing all of this. You gotta come, join the chamber, check out the chamber, and see when our wellness council is going to be presenting because we have a big program of health and wellness coming up soon.
Yes. And join the chamber on June 25th as we have our general membership meeting and new members. So if you're thinking or considering become a member, again, call the chamber at 305-751-8648. Thank you, Lorna.
Thanks. Cheers.
Salute.